Welcome to the This That podcast. It's episode 199. Oh, wow, man. Nearly 200 episodes on my favourite little segment every week where I get to have a chat to the Gladiators. Thanks so much, man, for tuning in every week. Thanks to the This That podcast sponsors. We got some new additions to the podcast starting from this week, so very excited about that. A couple of new sponsors. You guys will see who they are once we get crack-a-lacking. I need to set myself up with a ring light, bro, over here now because I've got this new format set up. I've got a new laptop, spent $4,500 at the Apple Store, and, bro, you know, ripping and clipping at the same time. Very excited to use this new laptop. Got some new programs, got some new artillery, some new arsenal that I can work with here to make it a little bit more cooler for everyone listening, even though I've got a head for radio, so most people are just going to listen to it on the podcast and Spotify's, but you got to do what you got to do, man. Got to crack in the algorithm. I'm nearly up to $100 on YouTube, so it's going to be the biggest payout I've ever had from YouTube. Fantastic. Very excited about that, and I'm glad that I've quit my day job, you know, which was paying six figures to make $100 for all the work that I'm putting in. And Snoop Doggy Dogg said he had 1 billion streams on a song, and Spotify paid him $4,500 or $45,000. No, $4,500? No, $45,000. $4,500? Man, it was whatever it was a stupid amount of money, like the terrible amount of money. You almost say, Spotify, just keep it, bro, and hopefully you go to court one day and you have to pay back all the artists that you guys are buying yachts and houses in Monaco with. The blood, sweat and tears of these poor suckers in a double brick garage in the middle of winter with a anorak or a big, thick Uniqlo hoodie on, which is what I've currently got on. Bringing you some of the strategies that you're going to need for the week. Just got back from Newcastle, which was pretty cool. Had a mad time over there. 3 days, 3 nights. That's a long time to be away for me at the moment, but I'll tell you what, man, I'm not regretting it. I loved it and I needed it. Bleached that. Had a great time. One of the comedians said this American comedian had a very funny opinion about going away when he got little kids. And they said, what's the best thing about going away? He goes, you know, having a bit of fun, getting some time for rest and relaxation. And they go, what's the hardest thing about going away? And he said, trying not to whistle while I'm packing my suitcase. I thought that was fantastic. That's one of the best things I heard on the whole trip. Hanging around with some other professional comedians, very, very, very funny people. Aussies, all of them. Not a wog in sight in Newcastle. I think it was the only wog out there. And there was one guy from Western Asia or something there as well, but I don't know what nationality he is, but he wasn't purebred Aussie coming off the Captain Cook fleet, but the rest were as white as it gets, translucent, some of them. You had to walk around with a jacket and a hoodie and slip, slop, slap every single day. They're terrified of skin cancer, but we're out here like wogs baking, sitting in the sun with no worries whatsoever with the olive skins, that in Newcastle midwinter. Walked out, saw some dolphins. Dolphins really nice. Been on a little bit of a carb light journey, apart from the 5 beers that I had on Saturday night. The rest of the intake has been quite carb light, I've got to say, which I've, interestingly enough, have not missed carbs very much at all, bro. Like, carbs are very addictive. They're the type of things that reward themselves with needing more and more carbs, like a drug. So sugar is very addictive. That's why they say sugar works on the same pathways as cocaine, the dopamine rewards circuitry. And that's why these companies are heathens and they put sugar in everything because it tastes good, but not morally worse than that it tastes good, worse than that, because if it just tastes good, then they would probably find something else to put in it as well as sugar. It's more that they focus on it brings you back. So you need to come back for it. So imagine I sold you a ticket and my show was hilarious, which let's all agree on that. And I can't have 100%, strike rate. Let's say 90%. I'm happy with 10% pissing off home and going, I didn't like that. But 90% is overwhelmingly positive. But I've put some smoke in the air that's addicted you to me. And then you go, I have to come back to every show, and you think that I'm just that good, but it's a chemical thing that's bringing you back. That's what the sugar's doing to your brain. That's what it's doing to your body. It's fucking you up in all various angles and ways and strategies. And that's evil, right? And it's not something that you agreed on or knew the facts. Similar to cigarettes, bro. Take a drag, mate. Oh, okay, you never get off this now. That's it. This is it forever. You're a junkie. And also, I'm sneaking suspicion that habits like cigarettes and all of this stuff, very, very good for human beings because we love vices, we love addiction, we're creatures of habit, and these companies, as Bill Hicks said, are the devil, more or less, and they work with scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, and teams of heathens sitting around strategizing of how to get people hooked and locked, you know, into a product or into an app or into a game or into a system or into a company even. So it's very difficult to break free. I've got to break free from the chains and shackles of society that they've placed upon us. You know, never going to be a victim, but definitely going to speak the truth. And this is the truth. As jarring as it might sound to you, you're just a bunch of conditioned responses that does the same thing day in, day out. Very hard to maintain a hyper clear perception that doesn't stumble and do the same things every day. Now, when they say you need a when you need discipline, because discipline creates freedom, I agree with you. But you need to also realize that habits are the reason why your life's Groundhog Day. And you wake up 75 years old and it's gone as well. Not being able to see the moment for very much because you constantly need to get in the ice bath. You constantly need to ground yourself, look at the ocean, look at the sun, walk barefoot, do 10,000 steps, make sure you just eat meat, make sure you detox, green juice. Oh, check the app. Look here. Oh, I'm 75 now. I'm dead. And where's that moment where you're just fucking dead bored where the creativity comes out? What? Dead bored? Yeah, no, I can't. I need stimulation, Pick up my phone. Like my cousin said, his phone died in his pocket. He checked it 6 times walking through Hurstville, Westfield, like it had its own battery that would wake itself up. Like a human being. It was just sleeping and energizing itself. I'm like, shit, dude. He goes, yeah, my leg would even buzz. Just buzz. He goes, the phone's off. My own muscle was twitching. It needed a hit of an SMS. I'm like, fuck, that's pretty scary. He goes, man, you have no idea. Because these Gen Z guys, you know, they're born around 2000, 99, 2000, I don't know. So they've had a phone in their fucking hands since they were 10. With high-speed internet and who knows what they've been looking at, the inside of females' anatomy. These guys can all be gynecologists by the time they're 15 years old. Never stepped into uni once. And yeah, had a cough for 3 weeks. Yes, had a cough for 3 weeks, not a problem. So I was driving up to Newcastle, and I'm the type of guy that gets super overwhelmed when I'm free, and I don't know what to do first, so I end up doing nothing. It's the same old thing as like having a Netflix, looking at Netflix, not knowing what to choose, just going to bed. So I was driving there, and the first thing that came to my mind as I was driving was, don't fucking listen to anything anymore. No self-development, no more podcasts, not even that podcast. You're listening to nothing today. You're going to drive from Sydney to Newcastle, 2 hours, 20 minutes. Let's call it 2.5 hours. No stops for pisses, nothing. You're just going to eat half a kilo of pistachios, raise your blood pressure up to like 200 over 100 because of the amount of sodium, and drink 2 litres of water. And when you get there, you're going to get out of the car lightheaded and piss against the tree as quick as you can because you didn't get out, but you drank 2 litres and ate half a kilo of pistachios. And I left the phone in the holder. The only thing that was on was the directions. Kept the phone off everything, not airplane mode, but just off. I left my place. I'm about 20 minutes out of the city. By the time I got to the city, I was in the cross-city tunnel, heading over the bridge. I was itching like a junkie. I didn't know what to do. Itching, whistling. Yeah. On the steering wheel. Just going mental. Because of either ADHD or my body's needing that stimulation and needs to listen, to connect, to interact. Used to living with a phone in my hand. I mean, people, you can smile at this, do it. Go 30 minutes now, driving. Do not put the radio on. Do not look at your phone at the red lights and nothing. The phone, chuck it in the back seat, turn the radio off, and just drive for 30 minutes. That's it. You think it's simple, just do it. Look at the little reactions, the tightness of your body, go to check. I might call someone. I get to North Sydney, I'm like, I better call someone. I need a chat. Got to chat to someone. Call Tony Mutski. Call Tony Mutski, doesn't answer. I call my sister, doesn't answer. My missus at work, not calling her. I just keep driving. Who can I call? I call Dimche, doesn't answer. God sending me some positive feedback. It's like, stop it, bro. I've got you back here. You don't need to call anyone. Just drive. Pitch katimatering. Right? And God didn't say that, so I'm not dissing him, but I'm saying that to myself. So we end up driving, and it got to a point where I was about Mooney Bridge. It's about an hour out of Sydney, hour and a half out of Sydney. And I couldn't handle it anymore. And I just, like all junkies do, just admitted defeat and just said, oh, fuck, I can't do it, man. And folded and put on music. Did not go to the podcast because the main thing was I'm not going to podcasts. And then as I was driving, I don't put another podcast on. I'm so bored of these podcasts, listening to Andrew Huberman, listening to Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson or whoever, Sam Smith, I don't know who they are. People just telling me about how to be better, how to be smarter, how to be wiser. I don't want to listen anymore. None of them are funny. It's so boring, dude. I can't listen to a funny podcast. Like, where's a funny podcast? I'm doing one right now, but no one else is doing this shit. So fucking boring. Give me some taste, some chili flakes on this, man. Splash some soy. It's boring out there with the cheese and tomato sandwich podcast. I'm sick of them. So I was I'm just not listening anymore, bro. And I folded, I put some music on, and I went to new releases on Spotify or some latest this week, and there was a Coldplay song. And I thought, this is going to be another piece of shit because the last two albums, all they've done is release shit music with a dance beat underneath. Your heart in my hand, your heart and your love is making me feel like a man. This is all they talk about because it sells. And I was like, fuck, man, because they're not that happy. I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow and him divorced. He's still putting out love songs flat chat when he's out on Tinder. So, don't know about that. Who's he saying I love you to? You know? Now, how many people are you loving, brother? You even know what love is? Well, unless you're Christ-like or something like that. But I'll tell you what, I can't love more than one woman. It's a bit hypocritical to me, unless she's my mother or daughter or grandmother. And so I'm driving, I'm listening to this podcast. See how I even said it? Slipped back into a pitch. And this Coldplay guy is singing. Now I bought tickets to his show, $400 each. I'm a bit angry about that. And I'm listening to his singing, you got my heart in your sleeve and my cock in your gun, and I'm gonna go left when I wanna have another son. And the song was okay. But there was one point where I started thinking about my daughter and I started crying instantly, like a tap, bro. Just... And it's very similar to that, the cry. Because the cry is a man trying not to cry. So the whole throat, the muscles, the trachea, the voice box, the epiglottis, everything was constricting instead of letting it gush forth. And I'm sitting there wet, got the sunnies on, tears, like my face looked like it just moisturised with some L'Oreal or some tincture bottle, some mushroom extract, chia seed, fucking facial scrub all over my body, all over my face. Some Nivea for men just splurged all over my face, but it was just tears. And I just thought about my daughter. Couldn't stop crying, bro. Didn't think about my son, but just thought about my daughter being little, me laying in bed, waking up next to her, because she, since from about 2 years old, would walk to the room and da-da and open the door, and then I'd say, come on, baby. And she'd get up in the bed, and we'd just huggles all night. Huggles and snuggles. And it made me cry like a baby myself, because she's 7 next month. And fuck, bro, unbelievable. Like, life just goes, man. Gonna cry on the podcast. Wow. When I started this podcast, she was 3. Exactly 3. And when I started Vlad, she was 1. Or maybe 2. So for the last 5 years, I've had her from when she was like a little baby. She could barely walk and talk, no talking, to in year 1 kid now. And, you know, the other day I saw a little bit of her childhood, her childlikeness just disappear, and that fucking broke me, man. We were dancing in the kitchen. Fuck, I'm going to cry, bro. We were dancing in the kitchen. It was me, my missus, my son, who's 4, and he's still got that child thing, which is good. I'm going to be dead if I see him lose that. And my daughter was like, you know, they usually get into it and all of that, but she was like a bit shy and self-aware. And that fucked me up, because I grabbed her hands and I'm spinning her around and we're dancing together to a song. I don't know if it was one of my songs or something, and my son's like, he's pretending to play the air guitar. And she's like dancing and all of that, but I'm looking in her eyes, and she was a bit too self-aware of herself, man. And I was spinning around and I lift her up. I love you, baby. And she's looking at me. She's like, I love you too, Dad. But she had just lost a little bit of that kid, that thing in her. And I think that kind of goes, there's that 7-year thing, man. Life kind of goes in 7-year cycles. 7 to 14. 14 to 21, 21, 28, things like that. Yeah, man, so... Oh, you're on the podcast, bro. Oh, fuck. Close this segment opening Woggalog, man. Fantastic. But just noticing that while I was driving and not putting that podcast in was fantastic. All these self-development podcasts really end up just being counterproductive in the end, because there's only so much your stupid brain can handle. You have to understand that. It's like just pumping liters and liters of water in every day. At one point, you start to dehydrate all the electrolytes in your body. Your renal function starts to suffer because your body has to process all of the fucking water, and there's no benefit to it. You haven't struck a decent balance. And I said to my missus that night, I didn't put any podcast on for the rest of the trip, and all I did was like listen to tunes, and I found some fucking cracking tunes that I've been getting into over the last few days, some bands that I've never heard of. And man, it created a soundtrack to my trip, which now anytime I hear that music, it's going to remind me of that trip. It's not going to remind me of whether I found out like what the best liver tonic is by Andrew Huberman, a 3.5-hour fucking podcast on liver tonic where him and some bored Asian person sitting around in a podcast studio with black curtains behind them just wanking their brains off about how smart they are, bro. And finally, these dorks have got a little bit of time in the limelight, giving all the Gen Z people some tips on how to live to 120 years old so you can do nothing but sit around on their mobile phones. Yeah, so I got more creative in the end, and I've been writing a few jokes, and that was my opening Woggalog. Maybe less or trying to educate yourself every single second of the day, Vlad, and do a little bit more fun shit. Vlad! Questions for Vlad. Mercs goes, looking back now, what are your 3 biggest regrets in your life? Okay, I try not to be very regretful of things. You guys know there's been some regrets. I found it hard to keep a job. That's possibly because of, you know, not enjoying what I'm doing. Also ADHD, but I don't know if I've got ADHD or maybe it's just can be conservatively managed. Probably smoking cigarettes, bro. But I love them so much, man, when I smoke ciggies. But I'm going to put them in the regret pile. I still remember taking that first drag ever of cigarette. I remember sitting in the park with my mate Alex in the golf course, at Bexley Golf Course, and he taught me how to inhale the ciggy because I was bum puffing him up until then. And my cousin used to give me ciggies in the morning before school, and he would say, I would come down to him and Tony, Simo, Dimo, Crimo, these guys would all be smoking a ciggy in the morning, nice and fresh, 8:30 in the morning before school, smoking ciggies. This is the 90s, bro, like 1997. We'd love that stuff, 98. I'm 15 years old. And they'd be at the back punching a durry. All the school knew it. You know, they'd come in stinking up the classroom. But this is, again, 90s, bro. It's a different time. In the 90s, smoking a cigarette was like a cool thing to do at school. I don't know now. People are sucking back vapes. I saw a 120 kilo Samoan guy in Westfield the other day with a ponytail and shaved head at the top and then like a mud flap at the back turned into a ponytail. It was the weirdest animal looking thing I've ever seen. But he was walking with his mate, him and his fat friend. Both of their shorts were falling down at the back. They would have been a total of 14 or 15 years old. These are the type of guys that never miss a day without KFC. Punching a vape. Both of them through Westfield, and I go, oi, listen here, don't smoke that shit out here, all right? And they both turned around, they go, what? I was like, don't fucking vape in here, bro, there's kids and shit. They go, sorry. Even though I was doing the same shit when I was their age, but, you know, I used to shit myself when I saw someone say that to me. Good, let them say it to me. Because I am being a little gronk out here, one, showing people I can do the fuck I want, vaping inside of Westfield in front of small, impressionable kids, and two, expelling what type of poisonous fucking gases through the air. Just fuck your own lungs up out somewhere in a park, cunt. So cigarette smoking, vaping, all of that kind of debauchery that I did not like. That's a regret of mine. Any type of drugs that I've taken, not into them. Drugs have done nothing good for me whatsoever. Nothing good for me whatsoever. I still remember smoking weed, and I used to think that, fucking writing some sick tunes, bro. Write some music and all of that stuff. Nah, the music did sound better when I was on weed. I've got to admit that. Sounded pretty amazing. Listening to some pretty good records on weed, the Radioheads, the Pink Floyds, all of that kind of trippy psychedelic shit. Bob Marley. Sun is shining, weather is... Is it free? Free? Is it free? Make you wanna move your dancing feet to the rescue. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I liked that. A bit of weed was good like that. But then again, I do regret drugs. But then I don't regret them. But, you know what I mean? Like, everything I've done has brought me to this point. I'm not too dissatisfied with my current situation in life, you know? I quite like my fans. I quite like what I'm doing. I'm quite privileged in many ways. I mean, I could be remunerated a little bit better. That would be fucking great. Or at least more consistently. But, you know, slow and steady wins the race, mate. You know, some people are angry that I even fucking cut the corner to get up onto theatres so quickly, you know, doing the Palais again next year, but whatever. You know what I mean? Get in where you're fitting because it's crucial. So drugs. Yep. Hard drugs. Never had a good night on them. Never had a good night. Had a great night on them. Never looked back on it as a good night because the next day would just be worse. And it's like, oh, my mate, it was the sickest night, bro. It was the sickest night. And I'm sitting there the next day squirming in my seat, just going, oh, my God, dude, I think I'm going to die. And that's not a fucking great feeling. My favourite feeling ever is waking up dumb fresh. I've woken up dumb fresh. Oh, what's he doing? He's going for a surf now. Oh, he's getting himself an outside bowl. Oh, he got barreled. Oh, he got barreled now. Oh, what's he doing after that? Oh, he's going to go and cook a meal with his mates and have a game of poker. Oh, he's had a cigar, has he? Oh, did he inhale it? No. You know, okay. I don't regret alcohol because alcohol has given me a lot of courage to do a lot of funny shit. So I've written definitely a lot of music on alcohol. I've entertained a lot of people with alcohol. I have had a lot of funny conversations with it. It has broken a lot of ice. I do not regret alcohol. I do regret abusive drinking though, like binge drinking where you just blast myself into oblivion. Do not like that. Even though I'm the type of cunt that pulls it up a little bit early, according to my cousin and everyone, they go like, bro, you never went that hard. I can count on one hand the nights that I went hard till the sunrise in the morning. There's one hand of that, maximum two hands. But most of the nights I'm pulling it up 1:32 in the morning. So I just didn't want to belt myself the next day. So that's a regret would be smoking, drugs. Drugs do nothing good for you. They just make you a degenerate and you disrespect yourself as well. You don't like who you are after drugs, and you don't want to admit that because a lot of the time drugs are part of your identity, who you are. You think you're a sick cunt. You're not a sick cunt. You are a sick cunt, but like in a negative way, sick cunt. You should fix that up, get that shit sorted, work it out, stop hanging around these gronks that do this stuff because not one single one's going to be your mate afterwards because once the drugs go, the friendship goes because a lot of baggage tied up to that shit. And then you look at each other like, ugh, man, all those nights, man, like fuck, You've got to all at least go, hey, man, we're not doing this shit anymore. That's it. And then if you have a pack that's mates, that's great as well. Because then you can stay mates and you go, man, we were gronks. We don't do that shit no more. Then that's fantastic. That's what my kind of mates have done now, which is good. Maybe the COVID vax? Probably a regret. Yeah, I regret getting the COVID vaccine. I haven't felt the best since the COVID vaccine or COVID, so I don't know which one it is, the vax or COVID. I'm not going to be a fucking conspiracy theorist, but I feel shit. My wife feels shit. My mates that have got it have felt shit. Their immunity has been fucked, but I don't know whether it's from the vaccine or from the actual virus of COVID. I've had COVID twice, but the last couple of years I've been continually sick with ear, nose and throat symptoms, chesty stuff, sinusy stuff, continually fucked up. And that's what it is. I don't know. So they're probably my regrets, I would say. Apart from that, maybe I would have liked to be a bit more assertive and followed. But I did. Yeah, I was pretty decent, man. I was pretty assertive. I don't know. No regrets, man. Nothing else. Like, I don't really regret much else. I haven't done made major errors where I've thought. Because always try to follow my gut instinct, bro. I've said that on this podcast 199 times. You have to be in touch with your instinctual part of yourself. That's the part that guides you, man. That's an inner guidance system. Instinct. It really is, bro. Intuition, instinct. What's the difference between intuition? Instinct, of course, it's like that instinct. It's the instant direction. Intuition. It's got to be the same thing, right? And one's physical, one's psychological, maybe. Intuition, direct perception of truth, etc., independent of any reasoning process, immediate apprehension. Okay, so your intuition, yeah. A fact, truth, perceived. A keen and quick insight. Okay, that's pretty cool. The quality or ability of having such direct perception or quick insight. Intuition. And what was the other one? Intuition. Did I say insight? Intuition. Fuck, now it's another in thing. Fuck, pitchcom or marketing. How did I forget that's the COVID vax? Bro, you can't be getting dementia. Oh, fuck you, bear. Did I say insight? Oh, fuck, this is going to do my head in if I don't come up with this, bro. Instinct. Da ti go jebam, majče to. Okay? Use your instinct. Instinct is it's an animal thing. Or an inborn pattern of activity or tendency to action common to a given biological species. Okay? A natural or innate impulse, inclination or tendency, a natural aptitude or gift, natural intuitive power. It's the same. It's in the same vein. Yeah, okay, cool, man. So that's gotta finish that question off for sure, man. Thank you. Questions for Vlad. Wow. I should maybe look at the question before I press that thing, right? Do you ever get back in the veal calated? You need a veal in your life. Of course I need a fucking veal in your life, bro. Oh, I'll do a little quick one here. Like that. People are coming on here going, bro, can you answer some questions? All right. Jacob, how has your life changed since the loss of your grandfather? Heavy question, my friend. Since that, I'll tell you what, there's this period where I just kept like wanting to drive past the house. And that's just a physical addiction of going in that area. And that was quite sad when you drive, because my grandma's in the nursing home. Grandfather's passed away. So drive past and just go, oh, you know, you drive for fuck, you know. There's a lot of that going on. Damn, and you know that thing. So that has changed. So there's no longer can go there, because some of the greatest periods of my life were there with all my cousins having the greatest time. That's changed. Secondly, the thoughts of him, bro, come up all the time. There has been, you know, when people, there's not a single day that's gone past when I haven't thought of you. It's not like that. Like, there is days that have gone past that I haven't thought of him, you know? But a lot of days I think of him. It's either he'll come up in a picture, or I'll see a photo, or I'll think of a quote that he's come up with, or something. Like, he was very quotable, man. He was one of the most quotable guys, and it reminds me of someone in the respect that he's very quotable, you know. But he was a very quotable guy. He'd come up with some of the funniest analyzations of things, and that was like, you know, when you got a bit of humor and wisdom, bro, like him. So helpful to people, man. And he used to help people like that. He would just sit on the chair and he'd judge you if he thought you were a Hmong, you know, and he feels comfortable enough with you. He would judge you in a way that, you know, it was hilarious, but at the same time you would drive off and go, man, this guy's right. He's so right, you know. It was his way of communicating his disappointment in you. Sometimes to my dad, like, he would just be blatant, straight up to my father. He would just tell him, you know, fuck, you've done my head in. And that's the father-son thing, whatever. But with me, yeah, he would be a little bit more delicate with me. I think he had more sympathy for me. He could probably see that I was a little bit more lost than my father in many ways, and he wanted just to be a bit more delicate with me. But man, that's how my life's changed, man. I miss that wisdom in my life. You know, you need to anchor yourself with someone that's got a little bit of life skills, but that's also a humble person that's not like some degenerate. You can't find it on the internet, man. Like, even though TikTok is a world of information, there's also just a world of fuckwits, man. And you've got to, you look at these people, you go, I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're doing. You know, so afterwards, it's not a connection. It's just information, sound bites. It's a little dopamine fix, and then you move on with your life. But when you've got someone in your life, whether it be a family member, some type of mentor, some life coach that you don't have to pay $179 and get 64 back on Medicare, and he's looking at the clock, can't wait till you go out because he needs to drop a shit because he had too much chili burrito at lunchtime, then you kind of take that for granted. When you've got it in your life, you go, man, this is pretty good. So a lot of people have that in their grandparents. But some grandparents are as dumb as two doorbells, but some are not. And that's how it's changed, man. I can't just swing by and just talk shit and ask questions. And I'm just like I was a mine for molding when I went over there, man. I would sit there and he would say, do you want a rakia shot? And he would like, maybe you don't want one, shouldn't have one. And I'll be like, yeah, I just want a cup of tea. No worries. Get a cup of tea. You want a rakia shot? Yes. Let's have a rakia shot. No, Dad, I don't want one. I'm off the alcohol. That's good. That's good. Everything like he'd agree with like that. I was like, you can have 2 rakia shots, but make sure not anymore because the police love people like you. They can't wait to pull you over, take your license and put you in jail. They want people like you. They survive off people like you. That's what he'd say. There you go. You want another one? Are you sure, mate? I go, oh, yeah, I think I can have 3. You can have 3, but also then you can catch the bus here next week. But also, your wife is driving to the wedding now, and then you have to look out of the passenger window and you can't tell her to slow down when she's doing 130 in a 100 zone and you have to cop the fine. That you can also do that. And I'd laugh my ass off at that shit, but he's telling me the truth. You know what I mean? You see the example of how he'd fuck around with you? People like the police love people like you, he would say. And then he'd say it to himself. He'll go like, that's what happened to me when I was 32 years old. I drank and then the police was waiting for it. And he goes, I've made the police's day. He's happy now. He's gone home. He's celebrating. I'm at home. I'm upset because I can't drive for 3 months. Yeah, fantastic, man. That type of stuff, man. You can't take that for granted.